I'm 16 years old, laying in bed and having my favorite daydream. I was a massive fan of the show Dark Angel, and for those of you who don't know, Dark Angel was the show starring Jessica Alba, and she would go around Seattle fighting crime. And in my daydream, I wasn't Jessica, I was Logan, the Bruce Wayne type that used his wealth to help the poor. And it made sense for me because I was a tomboy growing up, and naturally I was going to be the guy character. And so in my daydream, Jessica and I were running around Seattle fighting crime. I love this show so much that I had a lifestyle poster of Jessica Alba in my room. It was my sister on the bottom bunk, me on the top bunk, and Jessica right in front of me. But that wasn't the only poster I had in my room. After school, my best friend Sarah and I, we would often go and clip out posters from magazines. J14, Just for Teens magazine. And I had all my heartthrobs. I had Freddie Prinze Jr., the Backstreet Boys, and our favorite, Justin Timberlake. It was the poster where he was kind of looking off to the side, giving Blue Steel with his fabulous curly hair. And we would often spend time after school talking about how hot he was. They would say, look at his amazing abs. And I would always say, he's such a great dancer. And as time went on, all my friends started to get boyfriends. But I never had one. I mean, in grade 6, I did slow dance with Alex Carey to Gone at our Much Music video dance. But it was cool because I was a tomboy, and I figured there would be some guy that would want to play softball and football with me. So it's Tuesday afternoon, and I'm sitting in history class, and I'm whispering with Sarah in the back of the room. And I'm trying so hard to pay attention, but 3 rows in front of me and 2 desks to the side, there was just this head of curly hair. And all of a sudden, my teacher says, Miss Hakim, move to the front of the class, please. My stomach drops. Not only was I called out in front of the entire class, I had to sit next to Amanda. See, Amanda and Stephanie had transferred to this school earlier on in the year, and every single time Amanda would walk by, she smelled like angel dust or herbal essences or something beautiful. And I would just stare at her in the front of the class. So now I'm seated next to Amanda, and he says, we're doing group work today. Miss Hakim, you and these 2. And I look over to some girl and Amanda. My hands start to sweat, and I start to turn pale, which is so hard for a brown girl. And I start to think, introduce yourself, say something. But my mouth is so dry, like the Sahara Desert. And she looks over at me and goes, I think we need to shade in the parts where the war happened. And I said something so eloquent like, great. Thankfully, the bell rang, and I was able to grab my bag and run off to my next class, and I just sank into my seat. And I was so confused, my stomach was flipping. I thought maybe I had eaten a bad chicken finger at lunch or something. So that night, I went home and I started to think, when I was sitting next to Amanda, I wanted to kiss her. And immediately my heart starts pumping and my stomach's doing flips. It feels like butterflies, but they have concrete wings. And it feels so wrong. And I start to think, you can't be gay. Your parents, your West Indian parents are gonna be so upset with you. You're gonna be the gay of the school. You can't be gay. But Amanda. Luckily, it was just Amanda, though. And so I get home, and my mom's cooking, my dad's watching TV, and I get on to our family computer, and I load Facebook. But Facebook wasn't like it is now. Back then, you only had a few choice people, not millions of friends that we had now. So I had a few good friends and the softball team. I know. And immediately, I drag my hand over and update my status. Swing, swing, swing from the tangles of my broken heart. My heart has been crushed by a former love. All American Rejects. Because in the early 2000s, that's how you expressed yourself, with your Facebook update. And almost immediately, Sarah messages me and goes, "Are you okay? Are you thinking about Alex Carey again?" It was too much. I turned off my computer and ran upstairs and sat on my bunk bed. And I was staring at my poster of Jessica Alba, although this time I was staring at my poster of Jessica Alba. And I wasn't just looking at her, I wanted to kiss her. So I ripped the poster off my wall and I roll it up and I shoved it in the back of my closet. Right? The next day, I go into class and Sarah and I are talking. And I'm trying so hard to pay attention, but I'm fixated at the front of the classroom where Amanda was sitting. And she looked so gorgeous today. She was wearing a rhinestone shirt that said, "Babe." And had her hair in a bun that looked like doves were flying out from it. She was incredible. Later that week, I was walking up to our auditorium with my friend Edgar. And because I was on stage crew, I know. And we walk up to the lighting booth, and there's a sheet standing there in front of me, and it says, "Dance group." So Edgar turns on the music, and it's some Bollywood song, and I'm looking over, and I'm fixing the lights, looking over, fixing the lights. My heart stops. Amanda is one of the dancers. And she's not just dancing, she's like breeze flowing through palm trees. She's the best dancer I have ever seen in my life, even better than Justin Timberlake. And she was just there. It was literally my job to look at her. Sally and fade. Sally and fade. "Sally, fade," Edgar says. And I snap out of it, and I started to coach myself. "Sally, you gotta get it together." But in that moment, all I could think about was running down to the auditorium and grabbing her hand and dancing around a tree while rain came out of nowhere, like every Bollywood movie. All I wanted to do was kiss her. The next day in class, I had my hoodie up. And I was so confused with all of these feelings. I can't be gay. As time went on, Amanda graduated. And I didn't, because I failed that history class because I stopped going. And eventually, I did graduate. And I started working at an office. And our office culture was really fun. We had a lot of parties. Everyone liked to go out and celebrate each other. And there was this girl, and her name was Maya, and she had incredible curly hair. And one night, in a house party, we were standing in the kitchen, and it was just her and I. The music, couldn't tell you what was playing, and she comes over to me and kisses me. And my lips froze. My hands move up to her shoulders, but they kind of feel like a tree branch clapping onto your shirt. And I move my hands away very quickly, and she looks at me with confusion. And I looked at her, and I leaned in for the kiss. Because it turns out I can be gay, and I am.